I'm not a great dancer, unfortunately, but so I'm super happy to be back here. It has been a while. Let me first ask you to join me in a round of applause for the organization, because they do a fantastic job. Thank you. So, what I want today to do today is lead you a little bit through the trends we see at the HR Trend Institute coming up for 2023. We always publish an article at the end of November with the 10, 11, 9 trends for the year to come. So we are working on that list, and today I'm going to give you a kind of sneak preview. And I would like to ask you, if you think things are missing or you don't like certain subjects, let me know, because we are still in a position to change. So, my name is Tom Haak. If you want more after this, go to the website of the HR Trend Institute, hrtrendinstitute.com, link to me on LinkedIn, or go to my YouTube channel, where I publish regularly, at this moment, daily new videos. Possible themes. So this is work in progress, but here you see some possible themes for 2023. And one option is compassionate HR. I think that is probably appropriate, because we need a lot of compassion, not only for the people in our organizations, but for many other people as well. So that might be a good theme. Think about that. Compassionate HR. The other one, option number 2, is boundaryless HR. Let's not stick too much to our boundaries in HR. Let's not stick too much in our boundaries in the organization, but let's break those boundaries. Let's work more multidisciplinary. Let's be more inclusive. So that's a second option for the theme. The third is a little bit more negative, you could say, and that's the question, where is HR? Sometimes you ask that. You see organizations, you see things happening, and then I ask the question, where is HR? When there is misconduct, when there is abuse, when there is discrimination, when there is a lot of unemployment and we cannot find the people, a question is, where is HR? So 3 options. You will see end of November which of the 3 is going to be the leading theme for 2023. I talk a lot about trends for years and years. You could say most of the trends are not changing so rapidly. Trends are long-term trends, and in a way, the adaptation in HR is relatively slow in organizations. So you still have time, but most trends are long-term trends, and they are not changing so rapidly. So first I'm going to present to you a couple of the classic trends. The classic trends, and I would like to ask you to always take these trends into consideration. Some of the classic trends, there are more, but for today I picked 4. Number 1, always number 1 on my list, is personalization. Are you willing and able as an organization to take the individual wishes, needs, preferences, capabilities of people into account? And this is still difficult. I still see a lot of one size fits all. Measures for everybody. We have seen this post-COVID. In COVID, it was everybody who can should work from home. And now we are moving back to, the new regulation is 3 days at the office, 2 days from home, or any variation on that. But that is not personalization. When you personalize, you look at the work of people, you look at the individual needs and preferences of people, you take the individual home situation of people into account, and then you create work, office, workplace solutions. There's a lot more to say about personalization, but read about it on our website. The second one, classic trend is speed. Everything is going faster, but still HR has difficulty to catch up with the speed. Why are things so slow? Wonder for yourself. And if look at your processes, look at the way you are doing things. Are you fast enough? And if I look in organizations, many of the processes are still super slow. Take again recruitment. In many organizations, it still takes weeks before, after a position occurs, the position is filled, because there has to be a job description, it has to be posted, people have to be interviewed, people have to be selected, there's onboarding. Why is it so slow? Why can it not be done in a matter of hours, maybe? So when you talk about speed, don't think incremental improvement, like 10% better, 20% better. Think dramatically. Think, how can we really go from days to minutes? So speed, every HR process, generally speaking, can be a lot faster. The third one, of course, is technology. I won't talk a lot about technology today, but there I listed a couple of the important themes. One is the move from automation to augmentation. And most of the HR tech and other technology we see is about automation. It's automating processes we are doing. So we do something and then we look at the technology, can they replace what a human being is doing? But the question is, can we use technology to enhance the way we are operating as human beings? To go to next levels? So it's not about automation, it's about augmentation. Make human beings, organizations, with technology a lot better. And there is, well, we only have touched the surface of that. So this is one thing to consider. The second thing is use technology to reduce biases. Biases everywhere, there are biases everywhere in the workplace today, and technology can be used to overcome those biases. And the third bullet I put on the list is, ask yourself all the time, what is in it for the people? Because most technology I see is very organization focused. We want to speed up, we want to do things in a certain way, but often the question is, for you as employees, for you as people connected to organization, what's in it for you? So, 3 thoughts on technology, and the last classic trend I want to present here is purpose. Sometimes I become a little bit tired from all the purpose discussions. We need a purpose, etc. Well, I can say a lot of things about it. I won't do it here. But you see also here a kind of anti-movement appearing. You've heard about the anti-work movement. Those are people who are saying, well, yeah, all this purpose. Work is made too important. Why is work so important in our lives? There are other things that are important. So maybe we move a little bit away from work. Maybe work is a little bit less central in our lives. Well, there fits also the quiet quitting movement. That's very much connected to it. The quiet quitting is also people who are not really formally quitting, but kind of saying, well, yeah, I'm in my job. I work from 8 to 5. I do the things, but I don't do things extra. I work not at optimal speed because, work for me is not the most important thing, and they don't treat me so nice here as well. Because many people are not so positive about the way they are treated. I put here, you can see it, I like the Spanish term a little bit better, renuncia silenciosa. I think that's more gentle than the quiet quitting. So 4 classic trends. There are more, but even if only you look at your HR practices today and map them against those classic trends. We talked about technology, we talked about purpose, we talked about personalization, and we talked about speed. Look at those classic trends and see what you can do. Then you don't need new trends, maybe. All right, now my list for 2023. As I said, work in progress, so this is not the final list. The first one we called human fundamentalism. Human fundamentalism. We mean by that let's not forget the basics. Not the basic HR processes, but that's why we called it human fundamentalism. The basic human needs. There are basic human needs, and I put a couple of needs here on the list. You will know this list. People want to make a contribution, they want to learn, they want some respect, they want a pleasant team, they want a pleasant boss, they want to be heard. This is a list that exists for years and years. But let's not forget this list. Because still today, there are many organizations, they are working maybe on fancy technology and innovations, etc. But if you look at the way they are applying these basic human fundamentalisms, well, they don't. In many organizations, there is still a lack of respect for people. And well, so my plea is look at don't. If you have problems with this list, maybe you should forget the trends. Yes? Focus on this list, on implementing basic human needs. The second one is knowledge workers are not the center of the universe. Sometimes I'm in meetings, I'm in webinars, and it looks as if the whole world consists of knowledge workers. It's working from home and the hybrid workforce and purpose, but there are many people who cannot work from home. I have a list here, but if you look at where people are employed, most people are employed in these type of businesses, in these type of sectors: agriculture, retail, transportation, construction, manufacturing, healthcare, hospitality, cleaning. In most countries, it's more than 50% of the workforce in those type of jobs. Yes? Let's not forget those people. Let's not too much focus on the fancy knowledge workers. Let's focus 2023. Let's focus more on the people at the front. Let's focus more on the people in these type of jobs. Don't forget them. Number 3, you could say this is maybe also a classic trend, but the question is, where is HR? Back to the theme I outlined to you. Net zero is a super high priority, also for HR. Also for HR. So you could ask yourself the question, what are we doing from an HR perspective to be more sustainable, to lose less energy, to contribute to improving the way we are working in society? And it's not, I'm not saying it's easy, but you can start with simple steps. Simple steps. And the danger is we are moving sometimes a little bit backward. Maybe this conference is an example. Is all the people traveling to a conference center, is that net zero? Maybe not. But we moved back from virtual conferences. Think for yourself, what can we do to work faster and better to net zero? Number 4, and I'm not very aware of the situation in your countries, but in many countries you see the unions are coming back. More power to the unions. The unions have had difficult times in the last years, but now they're back because, and it has to do also with work conditions. It has to do with the way we treat people, especially the way we treat people in big organizations. I won't mention names. But if you look at the work conditions in warehouses, if you look at the work conditions of all the people who deliver the packages to our homes that we ordered online, there's a lot of tension there. Yes? I mentioned the frontline workers, but many frontline workers are working under adverse conditions. And that gives room for the unions, and I applaud that. That gives room for the unions to say, hey, how can we represent the people and how can we make sure the conditions become better? Look at that, study it, see what you can do. Number 5, and the order is totally, you could say, not random, but it's not from important to less important. But the metaverse is coming, the metaverse is there, and we have to learn in HR how to work in the metaverse, how to be intelligent in using the metaverse in the whole employee journey. And there are many, many opportunities. And the first step still is using VR. And this may be a first step, but let's not be too fancy. Start using VR in recruitment, in employer branding, in onboarding, in training, and then you learn how to work in the metaverse. But the metaverse gives enormous other opportunities. I was talking to a metaverse expert some time ago, and I was saying, well, today I'm here as a live person, but next year I will be here as my avatar, and I can stay home and my avatar will give the presentation. And she said, well, Tom, you're thinking too limited, because you think about an avatar of Tom, but in the metaverse, you can combine people. You can say, hey, Tom and Elizabeth, who's over there, let's combine and let's create a new avatar of Tom and Elizabeth, and that will be a lot more fun than having only Tom. So, yes, VR is a starting point using VR. I hope you're starting to do that, but learn and move with the movement in the metaverse, because it's going to be super, super important in the workplace. Number 6, not revolutionary, but you see that more and more HR comes in the center of the agile movement. HR is learning agile methodologies, HR is learning design thinking, and you see that the number of agile roles in HR is increasing. And in some organizations, HR is moving more to, we are not from HR, but we are from agile. We are able to help people in their agile teams. We are able to help teams in the organization to work in more agile ways. So agile, yes, is there to stay. I can recommend a book of my colleague Natal Denk on Agile HR, fantastic book. But if not yet, if you have not learned to master the agile methodologies, if you have not learned design thinking, this is the time to do it, because HR is moving more and more in that direction. Number 7, for the moment we call that the productivity puzzle, or the productivity paradox. You see slowly that productivity gets more attention. And the puzzle is that if you look over the years, we have done a lot of things. We have automated a lot, we have introduced new technologies, we have introduced the employee experience, we have done a lot of things, but productivity is stalling, is plateauing, is not increasing very heavily. Why is that? We do all those things, but we don't see it back in the productivity figures. And we need to. Because everywhere, almost everywhere, there will be a shortage of staff. Yes? So it's not a matter of headcount, because sometimes we cannot find the headcount. So we have to solve this productivity paradox. But it's a puzzle. I don't have the right solution. It's the same if you look at homes. Over the years, all the automation in homes, vacuum cleaners, fridges, all those types of washing machines, but still people have the feeling they spend too much time on their homework. Why is that? We don't see the savings coming back. So study the productivity paradox, or the productivity puzzle. It gets more attention, and if you're able to solve it, of course you're a winner. Number 8, that's well, I put there, watch out for the TIB, not the FBI, but the TIB, and that's the Talent Intelligence Bureau. And talent intelligence is on the rise. Talent intelligence is, well, let me go back one step. What you see as a long-term trend, that talent management and recruiting are coming closer and closer together. In the past you had recruitment and talent management. Talent management was long-term, etc. Today, back to the speed I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, yes, talent management and recruitment are coming very quickly together. The question is, we need people for this project. Where can we find them? Not in a year or 2 years, but now. And then you need talent intelligence. You need to be able to quickly tap on the internal resources, but also on the external resources, to staff teams as quickly and as good as possible. Very interesting to watch, and of course technology plays an important role, but you have to move away from the classic approaches. The classic approaches are, let's first make an inventory of all the people who are here and what they want and what they can do and put it in a database. Well, that takes too long. So we have to find other technology so that we say, we need someone, I exaggerate, but I need someone who can speak Spanish and has certain IT experience and is willing to work in well, let's mention in South Africa, that we quickly tap on the resources and find those people as quick as possible. Watch out for the Talent Intelligence Bureau, or establish your own Talent Intelligence Bureau. Number 9, I have 8 minutes left for 2 points, so I slow down a little bit. Maybe a glass of water. Number 9. What we see everywhere is that people have problems. They have problems with the cost of living. They have problems with the rising energy prices. They have problems, mental problems also with threats, war, other threats. So it's not the best conditions we can have. Yes? And you see that organizations have to respond to that. They cannot say, yeah, this is not our doing, it's only the government that can do things. Organizations have to deal with it. So how are organizations going to support people in this crisis situation? And not only the people in the organization, but also wider. There are many people who don't have work, there are refugees, there are many people not immediately connected to the organization, but what are you doing as an organization to support those people? And you see simple things. Of course, it's partly a matter of money, but maybe there are other ways you can support people with their often basic needs. And this is becoming more important. You cannot shy away from it, and you see that this is starting to be an important issue. Are organizations able and willing to help the people in this we called it the cost of living crisis, but of course it's broader than just cost of living. Number 10, the last one on the list, and you see it emerging, it's time to tackle the M taboos. And the M taboos are menstruation and menopause. Yes? And we have seen still for years that these subjects are still taboo in many organizations. Where, and this is a big female audience, and I'm absolutely not a specialist in this area, and I don't want to, let's say, pose myself at this. But there are issues here, and those issues are not small. Those issues can be big. People have issues with menstruation, that of course are recurring problems, and many females, when they enter the menopause, we have to deal with that. And the organizations have to be a lot more facilitating in finding ways to help people with the two M's. And there might be other M's as well, but I stick to those two M's. And it's starting, and it's not only in the US, and I don't want to become too political, but in the US it's also the A of abortion, because also there are states where abortion is forbidden. And so also their companies cannot they cannot say, oh yeah, it's forbidden, and so that we have nothing to do with it. You see organizations also there starting to give people in their organizations support when unfortunately they have to deal with an abortion. So discuss it, and it's not easy. I still encounter a lot of smirking and a little bit laughing, and especially when in male environments you bring these subjects to the table, but many of you are in a position to do this, and it will certainly be one of the trends for 2023. So 10 possible trends. This will not maybe be exactly the list, but as I said, it's not about only the new trends. It's also about the long-term trends that are important. And of this list, if I go back to number 1, you can still go back to how can we have a more human approach in our organizations? How can we respect people? How can we keep people, how can we give people room? And personalization also has to do, for example, with number 10, how can we take the personal conditions of people into account, and how can we help them to cope with that? So I wish you a lot of success in the coming years. Success today with the other presentations. Again, if you want more after this, go to LinkedIn, go to the website of the HR Trend Institute, and go to the YouTube channel, Tom Haak at YouTube. And I hope to be back here next year or year after that. Thank you. Bye-bye.